LPT, everyone should get their ssa.gov and irs.gov accounts set up before some fraudster does for you. Go download your social security statement as well, so you have a record of your current standing. I recently set up an irs.gov account, and their 5-step verification process, which also included a live face-to-face meeting with a live representative, inspired a lot of confidence. Eli 5. Why do referees let hockey players fight? Hockey fights are usually consensual. It's not a bullying activity. NHL have gotten harsher over the past 40 years to make the job of enforcers less relevant. The refs let it happen until there's a safe moment to intervene, usually when both players are sitting on the ice. To add, it's way harder to punch when you're on skates. You have to hold onto the other guy with one arm and try to hit him with the other. You can't generate much force from your legs either. They don't hurt each other very much. Are there hockey fights in Europe or the Olympics? Where do all of the fresh babies come from on TV? You almost never actually see a newborn on TV. They're basically always very clearly a couple months old. That baby isn't actually freshly born. Till about execution of 9 relations from China, in which a criminal's spouse, kids, grandkids, parents, grandparents, cousins, aunts, and uncles, in-laws would all be killed. Usually only used in cases of treason, though sometimes this was used for crimes as mundane as libel. Collective punishment was very common in many societies, both as a general deterrent and to avoid risk of vendettas. In Japan, a samurai that was condemned and executed meant at least his close family and sometimes his whole clan would be executed too. That's one of the reasons that made the practice of seppuku so widespread. The samurai voluntarily killed himself, allowing the shogunate to save face and say order was restored, and in exchange his family was spared. The old principle, if I'm gonna kill him, better waste the rest of the family so that no one comes for revenge later. Jesus Christ, imagine living a normal life then killed because someone in your family did some wrong. To foot by losing my entire life savings of over $600,000 to a rapidly developed gambling addiction and not being able to afford the taxes I now owe. For once, a real honest-to-God fuck up. Sorry man, gambling addiction is brutal. The casino always wins in the end. Really good anti-gambling PSA fellas. Men of Reddit, would you date a 6 feet 4 inches woman? I'm 6 feet 4 inches and my college nickname was Tiny. The guys I've dated have always said my height was one of the things that attracted them initially. Though I've lost count of how many times I've heard Death by Snoo references. I would date a bookshelf if it said my hair looked nice. Is she nice? Do we have common interests? No, my wife does not let me date. Till about Patricia Meehan, a woman who was involved in a car crash on Montana Highway 200. After the crash, she was observed acting strangely and wandered off, disappearing into the night. Despite over 5,000 supposed sightings of her, she has never been located. So what is the leading theory here? That she got into a car accident, suffered some kind of traumatic brain injury that affected her immediate judgment, at which point she wandered from the scene, into the wilderness, and succumbed to either exposure, or the aforementioned head injury. Damn, that's sad. It says 3 confirmed police sightings. To foot by forgetting that Reddit is only as anonymous as you make it, and blowing up my relationship with my family over it. Keep the ACCT, stand on business. Seems like the horse is out of the barn, so to speak, so personally I'd keep the account and lean into it, be petty as you want to be. You know your audience, here's your chance to take advantage of their insistence on being weirdly fascinated with a Reddit account. It's their choice to read or not. I had a similar life growing up. You will be okay. Find your chosen family and forget the assholes you share DNA with. Till, during World War II, the British used a dead body with fake documents to trick the Nazis into defending the wrong location, leading to the successful invasion of Sicily. Decent movie for its time. The Man Who Never Was, 1956. The World War II era British intelligence was absolutely no joke. They managed to identify and turn every single Nazi spy into a double agent. Now you could legitimately ask, were the British that good or were the Nazis just that shit? Nonetheless, the British managed the feat, so they get the win. Be careful what you ask for, you just might get it. I have known people like her. I say they are miserable unless they're miserable. That sounds just like a woman that I work with. She got pissed off at me for being friendly and talking to her, so I stopped talking to her. Then she got pissed off at me for not being friendly and not talking to her. Sorry, but you can't have it both ways. Eli 5. How are the descendants of the robber barons, Morgan, Vanderbilt, Carnegie, Rockefeller, etc., still rich if their fortunes from the late 19th and early 20th centuries are comparatively small to what we see today of the world's richest? Because of investment, compound interest, land ownership, and maintenance of positions of power and control in both the government and private sectors. If you have a lot of money, it's easier to make money simply by leveraging your existing assets. The robber barons' descendants haven't just been sitting around burning through cash piles, they've continued to invest their funds. Getting surpassed by other people doesn't magically not make them absurdly wealthy. The right to not freeze my tush. Similar story. Girls were required to wear dresses. The school bus slid into the ditch a half-mile from our home on a cold North Dakota winter day, so the remaining students walked to our house. Many of the girls, including my sisters, were near tears from cold when they got there. My mother, an original classic strong, intelligent woman, had a visit at the school the next day. And that was the end of that policy. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. The first 8 involved uniforms back in the day when we wore skirts and jumpers. Recess we always pulled on navy sweatpants under our skirts. No way we were going to make it outside for 30 minutes in a Wisconsin winter. Of course, as soon as I graduated 8th grade, they switched to navy pants for boys and girls and polos. How do babies get tired exactly when 90% of their time, they just sleep? They exert an astronomical amount of energy growing and learning. Imagine your entire day is working out and learning a new language and learning how everything around you works, but it is all new. They're building an entire human brain inside there. Takes a pretty massive amount of energy to grow a human. Every waking minute they are learning something new. It's exhausting. Too many people fucked up at work, so now we need safety glasses. I worked on a construction site with over 600 workers. One day we had to sign a policy document that mandated we put on our safety glasses with 2 hands. The reason? Multiple people tried to flip theirs open and shoved the temple tip far enough into their eye to need medical attention. Now you're also protected against people with no sense of humor. Like and subscribe.